Jim and Mimi's home. I'm an amateur woodworker, and I've created a number of things in my life. But one of the big things was that I made doll furniture at one time, and it was in a store here in Sunbury owned by other people. And Mimi done some designing, and I would create the products. Also, I've made a number of wall plaques that is here in this porch. And I have a train track that runs all the way around this porch, 2 tracks that has 2 trains on it. All right, now this is a wall plaque of the school that I attended for 11 years of my life. It was in Powell, which has been destroyed, but it was my school from 2nd grade to graduation.
And you built this?
My grandfather.
No, not the home, not the school itself, but that plaque you made?
Yeah, I made this plaque.
Okay.
You can go to the corner. There's a a lighthouse that I made during my years of woodwork, and it's Mimi loved lighthouses, so I made this one. As you go along the wall, that little white church I made, but these other wall packs are some that was Mimi had purchased here and there. And now as you go along, you see the picture of the work train, and as you come on around, that house in the corner is one that I built in 1989 on Sunbury Road near the lake. And as you come on around, the little red barn, that's part of my creations. And as you come on farther, these things, some of them Mimi purchased. And as you come on around, things that Mimi loved, we put up there. Now in this corner is a thing that I made of the train station in Chillicothe where Mimi was born. Then the White House was Mimi's home when she was a child through school in Chillicothe. Then the next one that I made is a plaque of her grade school in Chillicothe. And as you come on around, you see other things that Mimi had purchased at one time, until you come to this one, and that's her high school in Chillicothe, which has been torn down and rebuilt. And then as you come on around, in this corner, that's a famous building in Chillicothe, which I am not sure of which it is. And then as you come on around this way, this little white church that I made is the church that I was baptized in at Home Road and 315 in Delaware County. And by the way, this is Sunbury, Delaware County.
Hope you enjoyed the trip. What's the kid's name?
That's Buddy.
That's Buddy.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. Okay, this project that I'm going to talk about now was created by my stepdaughter Gigi Rice's interest in the Mahjong game. Her and her husband play it with people, and she got me interested in making the boxes with the drawer that holds the tiles that is used in the game. And this box is actually made from cherry wood that her father got from her grandfather's farm in the Chillicothe area. And this is sort of a challenging work. It's a game that the Chinese created, and it has boxes that holds the tiles that the game is played with. And these are racks that is used in the game. And I've made several of these for Gigi. And this last creation was made this fall and winter. Now there's a lot of carving done, and actually these carvings, as I understand it, are supposed to mean something in the Chinese culture. And so I've tried to create things that are like that. This is the front of the box, and this is the way you open it. And this is drawers that the tiles go in that you play the game with. And so there's 4 sides to this, and this is one side, and this is the handle, and that's a dragon, and this is the back, and this is the opposite side.
Now these are all hand carved
All hand carved
by you.
by me. And then this is, of course, the front that I showed you just now. Now these are racks that are made to play the game with, and they use these with the tiles. And this is ebony wood, and it's nasty to work with because it's so heavy that it won't float in water, and it's the only wood I know of that won't float in water. And so these are the racks that's used, and they put the tiles here to play the game, but they stack the tiles up behind these first, and then each person, as it comes their turn, slides the tiles out to the middle of the table, where each person, as they go around, can use or find the tile that works with the game. I have never played the game. It's complicated, but I've watched them play it.
But these are all handmade by you.
These are all handmade by me. These racks.
Where did you buy the wood?
The wood was purchased. Mimi found a place to purchase the wood for each one of these racks, and it was shipped to me. And believe it or not, each one of these racks, the wood in them is like $80. Now these racks were made out of the same wood that the box was made, and that wood came from her grandfather's farm in Ross County, I believe, because in Chillicothe. And my time on these is probably, it took me most of the winter and early spring to do the box and these 8 racks. And I made one other box for Gigi, and don't know whether I'll make any more or not, but this is one of the most challenging wood projects that I ever got into. Now this ebony is the first ebony that I ever worked with. And as I said before, it's so dense it don't float in water. and it's very, very hard. So you have to have good sharp tools, and it takes sanding from grit of 150 clear to 800 grit. And to get 800 grit, really, most stores don't handle it. You have to find a special place to get it. Now, like to saw it, it is also very hard to make sure that it doesn't split. It splits very easy. So you have to be careful at everything you do with this stuff. It is to me, it's not a good wood to work with if all the time. In fact, I don't know if I would like to do any more with ebony. And there's two ways you finish it, well, that I know of. One way is you use waxes and oils, and they call it polishing ebony. But I found out that you don't do that process only with pieces of ebony that you have in your home that you just look at. Because if you handle it all the time, when you use waxes and oils to finish it and polish it, it doesn't hold up, especially when you're playing a game where you use it all the time. So this particular project that I did, I was told by experts that not to use waxes and oils, but to use either polyurethane or lacquer. And of course, I like lacquer, so these have been sanded up to 800 grit sandpaper, and then has 3 to 4 coats of lacquer on each one. I use lacquer from spray cans, and you could buy it in a hardware store.
Tell some story about the sanding and how you found it to
Now
be
the
different.
sanding, I started out, which I had never done before. I started out with sanding it. Of course, I had a mask on at first, and after about 20 minutes, maybe a half hour of sanding on this stuff, I stopped, took my mask off. My mask was totally black, and everything in my shop was covered with a black dust. And that dust is not sawdust, it's dust finer than house dust. And so that made it difficult to actually complete this whole project.
And dangerous.
And dangerous. So, but more sophisticated shops that have systems that collect dust off from each piece of machinery you use wouldn't be so bad, but I'm not sure I want to use ebony again. By myself, and she had bought one of these boxes, and this lid wouldn't work anymore. And I studied that for 3 hours one day, trying to figure out how that worked so I could fix it. And I finally figured it out. You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, push in the bottom. The lid comes down, you shove that in there, and then you can pull the drawers out. See, each one of these is a drawer. And then this drawer's got a spring behind it. And so when you put this back up, you do it like this. Evidently, it didn't have any hinges or ways of
Latching.
fastening this front of it. So this is the way they did it. And you can take this bottom out if you want to. And then you can put it back in there.
And it's held in by those tabs.
Yeah.
And you're saying that this is not a hopper design. This was all
Oh no, this is
copied
all
from the Chinese.
copied from the Chinese doing it. Yeah.
Show the bottom spring. Explain this. Oh, that's the hinge?
That's the spring.
Oh, the spring.
Yeah.
The springs it out. It was a leaf spring.
Yeah. A little bit deeper. I should have made it so these drawers went in a 1/4 inch more, because then you could put little pulls on here. And when I found out I hadn't made it deep enough, I thought, how am I going to put pulls in there? So I actually made these pulls. I took a piece of electric wire, wrapped it around I took electric wire and wrapped it around a dowel pin like this, round, 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 then sawed them in two, and then soldered them together, and that makes my drawer pulls. Put this piece of metal on the back of this spring so that spring wouldn't wear out the wood on the drawer.
Wait, start now.
I went to the library and got some Chinese culture books and looked through them to find different things. And then I also would type in on my phone or my tablet, and I would say Chinese mountains, Chinese trees, Chinese animals, and those would come up, and then I just took parts of that and put it together.
Oh, be damned. And this is called a what?
It's a Chinese Mahjong to hold the tiles for the Mahjong game box.
Oh, be darned. What's that thing on top?
What's that?
What's the thing on top?
That's a dragon. It's a handle.
It's a handle.
And that's the handle, and it's a dragon.
Now you hand carved all of this?
Yeah.
So this was relief carving, and then the one you got your hands on the handle.
Yeah.
How did you do that from scratch?
Well,
Was that a big bunch of
I
lumber?
don't hand carve everything with a carving knife. I use a Dremel tool a lot.
Ah.
Some I use a little bit of knife here and there for doing different things, but mostly I did it with a Dremel.
And then you roughed this out with a bandsaw.
Yeah.
With what kind of wood?
This is all poplar.
Oh, be darned.
Yeah. Because I studied that for a long time. And I don't know what the kind of wood the Chinese use, but basswood is one of the famous woods that they carve with, but it's not readily available here, although Kime Lumber in Amish country handles it. But and they use what they call racks for to play the game with, and I've made the racks for Gigi to play the game with. I've got pictures of them on my phone. I don't have one here, but
very good. Well, we thank you very much, Uncle Jim.